Hello and welcome to Rainbow Stars channel, and today I'm coming to you live from my bedroom at long last. We are all here. Baby is home after 3 weeks in the hospital and I'll get to that in a minute. So this is a major update. There's my sonogram wall with an actual picture that my sister commissioned for me. It's a breastfeeding mermaid, and it says Light of My Life, and it's great because that's literally why I picked Elion's name as Elion, because he's the light of my life. You want to say hi, Bubby? Say hi to my viewers. Can you say hi? Huh? Let's see here. Say hi, baby. Yeah. Look at that. Yeah. So he's adorable and gorgeous and the most beautiful thing I have ever made and the most dangerous thing I ever did. So here's my update. Yes, you smiling at Mama. You giving Mama all the smiles. Mama loves you. Yes, she does. Okay, anyway. I could just love him all day. Anyway, so here is what happened at the hospital. So I go in for my induction because he's 37 weeks, and anything longer than that he could become a stillborn. So they tell me. So I had to do what we had to do, and I went to the hospital, and we started the induction. It did not go well. So suffice it to say, they tried pills. I was unresponsive to those. So then they tried to forcibly make my cervix open with a balloon that they put inside the cervix and then expanded full of air. And then they put Pitocin in me to try and make me contract and make me open up. And I dilated to about a 6, and then I stopped. And I was not making any progress for hours, despite me having great contractions. So we had to go the C-section route, and I'll tell you what, they already did a few things wrong. They botched my epidural, so when I did get the epidural, because I was being induced, so I figured, hey, if I'm going not natural anyway, might as well get the epidural and call it good. So there was that, and bless you, and yeah, so that didn't go well. So we did the C-section route, and they had to give me a different epidural because that one was botched. And just report to the wise, if anyone who's giving you an epidural says, hey, lean backward or sit up straight, don't do it. Ask for a different anesthesiologist because that person is dumb. Hi, Mom.
What are you doing talking to yourself?
I'm making an online journal post.
Is this clean?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Alright, here's his vitamins. They don't look like they taste so bad. Try to give them to him.
Okay. This next feeding.
No, now.
Now?
He won't be awake his next feeding.
Oh, okay. So, anyway, where was I? Oh, yeah. But yeah, if they tell you to do that, talk to a different anesthesiologist because that person doesn't know what they're doing. And most likely you'll end up with the botched one if it's not done correctly. So, if an anesthesiologist tells you to lean forward and make your back curved like a cat, that is the proper way to do it. And it's less painful and far more accurate. So, there's that. Yeah, you talking? You talking to Mama? Mama loves you. Look at that smile.
Yeah, you'll be awake his next feeding.
Probably.
I forget it so early.
Yeah.
But I want you to get in there and fix that stroller thing.
Oh yeah, I'll do that before I go to bed.
Okay?
I'll do that after I'm done with this. So.
Well, stop with that for a minute because I want to look at your wall.
Okay. We're on hold.
here.
Yeah, she keeps sneaking in.
Oh, that's pretty.
Isn't it nice?
Yeah.
She made like a little nook.
Yeah. I mean,
Did-
he's just having a good old time looking around.
Did you like it better the way it was, or do you like it better now?
No, I like that. That's like his shrine.
Yes.
Or your shrine for him.
I thought so too.
Okay.
I love that picture too. It's really pretty.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Okay. Is this dirty?
What? Oh. No, it just didn't fit him.
Okay. I'll put that back in the bottom drawer.
Okay.
Is it too big, too little?
That's too big.
Okay, well, it'll fit him soon.
Yeah, he'll grow into it.
I'm gonna need some diapers, a changing pad, baby wipes in there tonight too, if you want to get some sleep.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you, Mama.
Yeah. I'll close the door so she can't get back in.
Thank you. Okay. Sorry for flashing my fat at you. That was not intentional. And, yeah. So, just ignore all of that. I would cut it out, but no. So, we went the C-section route, and it went well. Luckily, nothing bad did happen, even though there's a high possibility that it could. And little man was born on October 1st, and then promptly the secondary day when I was supposed to be having him, holding him, bonding with him, going through the cluster feeding, they told me that something was wrong with my baby and that he had to go to the nursery for observation, which I couldn't understand why they couldn't observe him right where he was, but whatever. So I allowed it, and even though I was really freaked out about it, I didn't want him leaving my sight even for a minute. So when they took him away, they took him to the nursery, and then they brought him back for a small bit. Then they took him away again, and they didn't bring him back because he had to go to the NICU. And they didn't quite explain anything to me until he was settled in the NICU. They didn't tell me what room he was in. They didn't explain what was going on, why he was in there, just that, you know, he was hypoglycemic, no big deal. Next thing I learn is that there's more wrong with him than I thought. He wasn't breathing effectively, and he was jaundiced. That meant his liver wasn't fully formed. And he had periodic breathing, which is called apnea of prematurity. And yeah, it was pretty scary. So they wouldn't take me to see my baby. I asked them if they could. They said, if you want to see him, you're going to have to walk. This is day 2 after surgery. They didn't give me any heal time. They just said, get up, start moving. So I get that that's probably how they act with everybody. But to me, it felt like they had kidnapped my kid, held him for ransom, and unless I was going to get up and walk, I was not allowed to see him. That's how I felt, and that's wrong. So my experience was very traumatic. And then I finally forced myself to go to the NICU, screaming and crying. And then they decided, oh, better give this girl morphine because she's not handling this well. No duh. So I had a lot wrong after the surgery. I had really bad edema, where there was swelling of the skin, and I had swelling all throughout my body, hands, feet, legs, upper thighs, buttocks, everywhere. And it got to the point where I was actually leaking water in my hip. Yeah, I've never leaked in my life water, but that was scary, and it was very painful. The whole thing was very painful afterwards. So post-surgery, I was miserable. But I still forced myself to get up and go to the NICU and see where my baby was being housed, because there was no way I was leaving that hospital without him. They let me room in at the hospital for 3 days, and then they told me I had to leave, even though my baby was not ready. That was hard. I had to leave him up there, and I was not allowed to stay with him. I was supposed to leave, and I was not allowed to sleep up there, so they kept forcing me to leave. The nurses up there, some of them were crackerjack fine. The others were very apprehensive, did not like me, did not want me up there, clearly had their own agendas. And even whenever I told them they were overfeeding my baby, which they were feeding a 2-week-old 4 to 5 ounces of milk, plus adding formula to the mix, which I was making enough milk for this baby, and they decided to overfeed him so that he would sleep longer because they didn't want to deal with him. I know what they were doing and why, and I did not agree. So I did get onto them. I talked to the charge nurse, and she liked me. She thought I was very intelligent. And it was just very frustrating. I don't believe they held my child. I don't believe they coddled him very much. At least some of the nurses didn't. They just wanted to feed him to put him out, and then after that, whatever. So I'm glad when he got moved to Cook's Children's, which was their last decision. They're like, okay, well, let's send him to Cook's. And the best decision they could have ever made, because at Cook's, we at least weaned him off the cannula the secondary day that we were there, and he did well. And then he stayed for basically a week for observation, and they told me he was cleared and he was good to go home. So that whole scenario, that whole thing, I honestly do not believe he had to be in the hospital for 3 weeks, but it doesn't matter what I think, because if you try to withdraw a child from care, especially one so young who had issues, even if you didn't see it or understand what was going on, they would have called CPS and probably would have gotten me into trouble if I was defensive or said I wanted him taken out, and they would argue that I'm not acting in the best interest and then go and fight in court, and I didn't want to deal with all that. So in some situations you have to bow down to others, even if it doesn't make any sense, which it didn't, because my baby was recovering. They told me his stats didn't go low for long, but they did dip, and then he would go up on his own. Well, then why did he need the cannula for oxygen when he wasn't staying low and he didn't have that low episode of, you know what I mean? It just sounded very fishy to me. They honestly didn't make it seem like it was a dire situation, and yet then, out of nowhere, when they put him on the cannula, it was suddenly a dire situation. So, anyway, it was just very frustrating. I'm glad he went to Cook's Children's. That place is amazing. The rules were outrageous and unrealistic, and the people there gave me a hard time because I'm plus-sized, and I have big bosoms, and I wasn't hiding them. Whenever I wanted to feed him, off went the shirt, to breast he went. I don't play this lift the shirt one half and then lift the shirt the other. It's a pain in the butt. Just take off the shirt so that I can deal with me and my baby. I was learning how to latch. I was learning how to breastfeed. I didn't want the distraction. So there was that. Some people said it was a breastfeeding safe facility, and yet they're bringing partitions in and being like, stay clothed. But I was feeding my kids, so I don't understand what their issues were. Granted, I do sleep without a shirt most nights, but whenever they told me to keep clothes on, I did, except for when I was breastfeeding him. So, and at night, if they want me to wear pants or shorts, I couldn't do that. I was post-surgery. They told me to not get the incision site hot, to keep it airy so that I wouldn't get infected. So I'm still healing from that surgery, and it's pretty tough. I just got over having severe pain in my hands, even because of the swelling in there. I had bad, what do they call that? Carpal tunnel syndrome. And it got to the point where I couldn't even feel any of my fingers. And anytime I touched anything, I couldn't feel textures anymore. I just felt shooting pain. Electrical pain in my hands. And I couldn't even feel my son's soft skin. And it was just unreal. It was so awful. That whole situation was a nightmare. Both hospitals were a nightmare in their own ways. Cook's Children's better care for children. They had way better care for the kids. But, again, we're not 100% parent friendly. They gave me a hard time about my wardrobe. If I wore something like this is like one of the outfits. They called it inappropriate. It's down to my knees. I don't see how it's inappropriate. I wore one that's like the tank top. You guys have seen it before on my channel. It's just like a tank top outfit. But it's long, it's a night dress, and it goes down to my ankles. They were saying that was inappropriate because it was too thin of material. You could see the outline of my breasts, and it made people very uncomfortable. And yet you guys are pro breastfeeding? They were giving me way mixed signals. I can breastfeed, but I can't show the breastfeeding in all my glory. Whatever. I was the only one getting picked on about that because, like, there were women literally walking around in their underwear. And nobody complained to them. There were some ladies that were wearing tank tops and showing cleavage when I wasn't showing any cleavage at all, and that was acceptable. There was this one lady who had literally, like, shorts on that dipped below her ass crack. But no, they weren't talking to these people. They were talking to me. Because I was the new mom, and apparently me being unclothed in any capacity when trying to breastfeed is inappropriate. Even if I'm covering up. I even eventually just covered up because it made me feel very uncomfortable with how uncomfortable they were. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to be nice. I'm going to cover up, use a blanket, whatever. And then they're like, oh, well, we don't like that either. So they were just giving me a hard time just to give me a hard time, and that was going on for about a week. And so I'm glad to be out of there because that was hospital hell for me, and I'm glad my kid's out of there because honestly he ought not have been in there to begin with. I believe that, and I stand by it. We even had to do a probe test thing. I felt like if I refused that treatment, then they would have gotten on to me or contacted CPS or whatever. These places will contact CPS. It's not far-fetched to think they wouldn't. In fact, when I was there at the hospital, they mentioned that 2 other families had already been called for CPS. I heard stories that they were false reports from these family members. This one lady was grieving the loss of one child as she cared for another child, and they contacted the CPS on her because if she was grieving, then she couldn't care for the kid, which is completely false. And, you know, when people do that to other people, that just makes me angry. So whatever. Everything there, Cook's Children's is a wonderful facility. It has crackerjack doctors, but the nursing staff is against busty women breastfeeding their babies. 100%. And they have these windows that peek into every single room, and like it's impossible unless you use the curtain for any privacy. And I didn't want to draw the curtain every 5 seconds to change clothes or to pump milk or take care of my kid or to breastfeed him. And plus, I couldn't even get him over to the couch to breastfeed behind their damn curtain, even if I wanted to. So he was attached to the wall, you know, so I used the chair. And they're like, well, some mothers turn the chair around. Well, I'm not some mothers. It does not bother me. I am not offended by breasts. But whatever. That whole situation was just BS to begin with, and I'm just glad we're out, and I'm glad he's home, safe, and we're no longer in a hospital listening to beeping monitors all night long. So 3 weeks in, and I finally get to enjoy my baby and be home with him and bond with him the way we were meant to do in the hospital. And I'm glad. I'm so glad. But yeah, so we have like the little Elion shrine, and we're getting everything organized for him, and he's in his little bassinet, and he's still awake. Hi, baby. He's still awake? Hi, baby. What you doing? What you doing? You looking at the camera? Say hi, everybody. My name is Elion, and I am the cutest baby ever. He's adorable. I don't know what I captured and what I didn't capture, but he's cute. And, yeah, I swear he takes after me. Forgive me, I'm so tired. I wake up every 3 hours to pump milk, and when I'm not pumping, I'm feeding and breastfeeding my kids, so very exhausted. But yep. So, that's that, and, I'm just glad that, you know, after the surgery that I'm healed finally. It took me a whole week to heal from that surgery, 10 full days, so, and even after that I'm still healing on the inside, and my incision smells, and it's red, and it's gross. So most likely it's trying to get infected on me, but I'm trying to keep it clean as best I can. It's just in an area that I can't see very well because I have a big tummy. So I also lost like 40 pounds after I gave birth, and that was all water weight, so it's crazy. Anyway, that's that update for now, and remember, when you view, peace, love, unity, and respect, and please do ignore all of the unsettling things. If you saw my tummy fat, well, I don't give a damn. So if I don't care about flashing my boobs in front of people I'm trying to breastfeed, then I certainly don't care about that, so get over it. All right. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. I'm just glad that my baby's home, finally, and that we can move forward with our lives. So, yeah, Mr. Squeaky, I love you. Anyway, I'll see you guys on the flip side.